Welcome back to Hardball. It's no secret the Supreme Court justices are aware of popular opinion when they decide cases, and the background music, if you will, for this week's 2 gay marriage cases was the dramatic shift in the public's attitude on that matter. Here's what we found in our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. In 2009, not 100 years ago, 2009, only 32% of African Americans supported same-sex marriage, while a majority of African Americans, 53%, were opposed. But by December of last year, 2012, the percentage supporting same-sex marriage had jumped to a majority, 51%. And the biggest jump in support for gay marriage was among blue-collar workers of all ethnic groups. Back in 2004, only 18% were in favor. Now, with 80% opposed back then, 4 to 5 opposed. By December of 2012, there'd been a spectacular shift in opinion. Now 47% approved gay marriage, just 43% disapproved. Joy Reid is managing editor for thegreer.com, and Brian Sims is a Pennsylvania state rep who's openly gay. Brian, thank you for joining us. I want to start with Joy, who's our expert here all the time. Then you can be the new expert. And by the way, congratulations on representing one of the more interesting parts of the city, we call Center City. Anyway, let's go with this. Why do you think, if you had to write a history paper on this? Now, Brian, I understand your district includes downtown some of the wealthier crowds, certainly places I'd love to live, like Rittenhouse Square and Society Hill and that Fairmount. That's your area, right? Basically around downtown.
And those are some of the places, Chris, those are some of the places in this city that I'd like to live, too.
Okay, where's your district? I'm trying to figure out your community that you represent, being openly gay.
You hit it dead on. We're looking at Center City, Philadelphia, pretty much the core of the city except for Chinatown and the convention center. So everything from the Gayborhood to the Rittenhouse Square, out to the Art Museum, including Gray's Ferry, Graduate Hospital, really the core of Center City, Philadelphia.
What's it called, Gayborhood?
The Gayborhood, right between Chinatown and the Italian market.
I know. My son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, and my son live there, by the way. And they're straight, obviously. Let's go to this whole question about, was it a plus or a minus for you running for office being openly gay? Because I think times have changed enough that that's a reasonable question.
I think it was a plus. I worked very closely with the Victory Fund, the National Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund, to really help me talk about how I wanted to address being an openly gay man when I was running. And, there are a couple of simple truths when it comes to elections, and one of them is that people appreciate authenticity. They may not understand everything that you fight for, but people appreciate when you stand up and speak up for your community. And honesty, absolutely, 100%.
Did you have any doubts when you first got into running for office whether that was the right course politically? Was that the smart move or just the right move?
It was the right move. Pennsylvania was the second largest state in the country that had never elected an openly LGBT state legislator. And we have known for years that really electing out legislators is the key to passing equality legislation. And you know this about Pennsylvania. Chris, Pennsylvania has no statewide LGBT civil rights.
Yeah, well, work on it.
Working on it.
I'm glad to have you on. That's why I wanted you on. Let me go back to Joy and this whole question of change. Who are your role models in being so courageous, Brian, and running for office as an openly gay man? I think of Philadelphia, even the movie in Philadelphia with Tom Hanks playing the man with his HIV infected. And I think of Sean Penn playing Harvey Milk. These are big, 30 years ago, this wouldn't have been an acting choice. Hey, let me play the gay guy. This is a big positive development, I think. Your thoughts?
There's no question that Harvey Milk was an obvious role model in doing this. I actually represent a good chunk of Benjamin Franklin's legislative district, and one of the things that we learned from Ben Franklin, which is as old as politics in this country, is that if you work towards a common goal, if you're able to bring people together and fight for those things that we all agree on, people are going to do a much better job of listening to you on the things that we disagree on. And Joy and Chris, you touched on this just a moment ago about coming out. We have seen more people come out of the closet in the last 25 years, the last 20 years, than perhaps we did in the last 100 years. And what's happened as a result is this LGBT civil rights movement, has gained in the last 25 years, what took about 65 years for most civil rights movements. But now what happens is every single day, people see LGBT people around them in their family and at the workplace. Every morning, they bring Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Roberts into their household. And that's the people, Chris, that we're talking about here. We're talking about seniors. We're talking about Southerners. We're talking about working class people who are now seeing LGBT people around them every day.
And what I like about you? You know what I like about you, Brian? You're obviously a great local representative, and you'll maybe be governor someday. But I like the fact you talk at the right speed. My speed.
Well, you know what? I know that you, like me, can cram about 2 minutes worth of information into a minute.
As rightly we do. And happy Easter to you, and happy Easter to you, Joy Reid. Thank you, as always, for coming on the program. Up next.
Thank you, Chris.
There they go again. Republicans in